Well, Major Des Astor, thank you very much for joining us on the programme. A lot of people watching this might be familiar with the ARSE website.
Yeah.
If they're not, explain to us about that and then how the book came about.
Well, the ARSE website is basically a forum for members of the armed forces, particularly the Army, to just chat and whinge about this and that. And it's been going, for the best part of 10 years now. It actually started off as the result of a boozy pub conversation between a couple of mates way back in the end of 2000.
And how did the decision to turn it into a book come about, and where does your involvement come in?
Well, I've been a moderator on ARSE for the best part of the last 7 years, and we thought there's got to be some way of bringing ARSE to a wider audience. There are people who might not be members of the Army, who might not have access to the internet, who might nevertheless enjoy the banter and squaddy humour that takes place on the site.
Well, there's certainly banter and squaddy humour in the book. Just this sentence from the introduction: the first time you meet members of the British Army, you could easily be forgiven for thinking that rather than a big cohesive whole, you've actually come across a group of fiercely independent tribes who all happen to buy their clothes at the same shop. That pretty much sets the tone for the rest of the book. Was it fun to write?
It was a lot of fun to write, and but mostly because I've been in the Army for the 28 years now. And it is, it's my life, and it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't have stayed if I didn't enjoy it, and a lot of it is the humour. And
a lot of people will recognise the tone of the book as well. You write a lot about the people involved in the British forces, of course. The sappers are truly the Army's jacks of all trades, turning their hands to all kinds of tasks, from building bridges, laying minefields and bomb disposal, all the way through to making maps. Among their finer qualities is their unrivalled ability to conjure up a functioning bar out of more or less nothing.
Yeah, absolutely right. I was at Basra Airport in July 2003. They opened a bar. Fantastic.
The first thing they did, get the bar up and running.
Get the bar going.
A lot's on the military places around the world that our viewers may be watching from, of course. The Falkland Islands, I hope nobody takes offence. Your section on the Falkland Islands simply says wind, rain, sheep, penguins, that's about it. There are longer chapters.
There are
longer
chapters.
In the Army.
Yeah, absolutely. But we try to get to the essence. There isn't enough space in a book like this to wax lyrical about places like the Falklands.
Also, the kit as well. I mean, everything it's remarkably detailed. I know it's essentially a funny book, but it's also very informative. But it is the funny things that leap out. On ammo pouches, non-infantry personnel should be aware that infantry instructors have strong views on using ammo pouches for items that don't keep your weapon firing. Don't be surprised if your brilliant idea to put your magazines in your Bergen to make more room for Haribo is met by a torrent of invective.
Well, absolutely right. And again, the idea of the book is that it's meant to be useful. It's there are no lies in it. If you're in the Army or you're thinking of joining the Army, the book may be helpful.
And like you say, if you're not in the Army, interesting as well, because it is, it's wittily written.
Oh yeah,
me saying.
That's very kind of you to say so.
I know it is very kind of me to say.
But yeah, it's an introduction for people who perhaps don't know much about the Army. They'll learn a lot more about it from reading this. Not necessarily all the things the hierarchy want you to know about it, but they'll learn a lot more about it from reading this. For people who are in the Army, it'll confirm all their nasty suspicions.
Well, talking about the hierarchy, was there any ever sense that anybody might take offence, either the military bosses or anybody that might be reading it?
When ARSE first started, there was quite a lot of suspicion and hostility towards it. Actually, over the years, that's all gone away, and I think most people within the hierarchy see it as a good safety valve. And just before the last general election, we got invited to go and interview Liam Fox, who was then the Tory defence spokesman, so that he could put his views across to the ARSE membership. So I'd spent some time at Portcullis House actually talking to the guy. We'll have to find a new one now, but there we go.
I just love the idea that your business card just might say, Major Des Astor, ARSE moderator. I just think it's a great...
ARSE has been mentioned in Parliament. It's been mentioned in the European Parliament. I think it's now a national brand.
Just finally, I wanted to mention this section on the SAS. Obviously, everyone gets a bit of a going over in the book, really. The SAS, there are several kind of pointers to identify SAS personnel. All UK pubs are required by law to have one alcoholic regular who claims to be a member of the SAS and was second man on the balcony at the Iranian embassy.
Yep.
The SAS men must now sign a contract agreeing never to disclose anything about their service, never to call any officer sir, and never to trim their moustaches. They are vulnerable to kryptonite, but only during a full moon.
Yep.
And finally, most people in the town of Hereford, where the SAS are based and I happen to be from, have 11 toes and can play the theme tune from the film Deliverance on the banjo.
Yeah,
if you could take that one out of the next edition, I'd be grateful.
Well, I think the key point about this book, if there's anyone who reads it and isn't offended at some point, I haven't done my job properly.
Is there going to be a sequel? Arse 2, the
We're
movie?
thinking about Arse 2, Skive to Survive.
Yeah, well, I'll certainly buy that one.
Okay.
Thank you very much for coming in and telling us
That's
all
great.
about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.